A significant problem is emerging on the right side of the political aisle here in the United States. And that is partially the fact that 70% of Republicans in a new poll believe that the 2020 election was stolen from Donald Trump. Now, that piece of polling data would be troubling on its own, right? 70% of one of the major political parties in this country think that our election is not legitimate and that Joe Biden isn't really the president of the United States. That, again, bad enough on its own. Here's where it gets worse. 20 million Americans believe that violence might be justified to restore Donald Trump to power. Now, what's even more disturbing about that little number there is that only 10 million Americans agreed that violent protest was worth the risk. But the number doubled to 20 million when the risk, or the protest, I should say, was to get Donald Trump back in office. 20 million Americans believe that political violence is worth it if it means Donald Trump gets to be the president of the United States again. I don't know how we progress as a country from this point. I don't know how we even move forward. 6 months ago, 70% of Republicans sure as hell didn't believe the 2020 election was stolen. 6 months ago, 20 million Americans likely wouldn't have said, yeah, I'll risk political violence in order to get Donald Trump back in office. I don't even know how to respond to this new information that came out this week, published by The Atlantic. We're just a country that is so not just divided, but stupid. But the stupid has led to crazy. And that's where it becomes a major problem. It's one thing to be uninformed, which I guess is probably a better word than stupid here. It's one thing to be misinformed. But when that misinformation or disinformation or lack of information, whichever one it is, when it becomes a characteristic, when it becomes a source of agitation, that's when it becomes a problem, and that's what we're seeing develop right now in the United States. Donald Trump didn't win the 2020 election. Donald Trump doesn't get to be president again just because he's sad he didn't win. No matter how many lies he tells, it doesn't change the facts. But unfortunately, no matter how many facts we get through these audits, through the independent investigations, the recounts, all of that has proven Trump didn't have the election stolen from him. He lost fair and square. They don't care. In fact, almost at this point, every time new information comes out to confirm that, it seems that the number of Republicans who think it was stolen increases. We have to figure out a way to defuse this situation, because more and more people think that it's okay to commit acts of violence in order to let Trump play president again. So how do we diffuse it? Well, we combat misinformation for one. Unfortunately, all of us have been doing that for a year now, and where's that gotten us? It hasn't changed anything. So combating misinformation is simply not enough. What has to be done is that the DOJ has to take action against Donald Trump, against the plethora of things that I've mentioned over the last few weeks that seem like they could be slam dunk prosecutions for the DOJ. Whether it's sedition, whether it's, the seditious speaking to the people at the rally that, stoked the violence, as Judge Amy Berman Jackson pointed out. Whether it's the election interference in the state of Georgia, whatever it is, or again, his admission from this past weekend that he did obstruct justice, fired Comey to save his own behind. Pick one, DOJ. Because if you let this jackass fester out there and continue spreading his lies, eventually it's going to turn from 20 million people are okay with violence to restore Trump to God knows how many of them committing acts of violence, committing the next coup to try to restore Trump to power. If nothing is done about him, I guarantee you that's going to happen.